Okay, let's talk about a number. A truly mind-boggling financial figure. $135.46 billion.
Yeah, and if you heard that cold, you might think, okay, sovereign wealth fund, maybe a massive corporate merger.
Exactly. Or even a national defense budget, right? But
Yeah.
this isn't state money or corporate cash.
No, not at all. It's actually the total power of individuals. It's money sent home by people living and working abroad, India's diaspora. And it's just set a new world record.
Right. So that's our focus for this deep dive. India, they've just cemented their place as the world's #1 recipient for these payments, these remittances.
And it's a huge deal. This isn't just about the money itself, though the scale is staggering. It's reshaping India's economic resilience, its financial standing.
But it's also causing ripples internationally. Some significant political friction, actually.
That friction is key, yeah. We're basing this analysis on recent reports from India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, the RBI, and these reports got picked up widely. Money Control, DNA India, Times of India, places like that.
So our mission here is kind of twofold. First, let's really get a handle on this number, $135 billion. What does it mean for India strategically?
And second, we need to look at that international reaction. Specifically, a pretty sharp proposal coming out of the U.S. to tax these flows.
And it's important, to frame this right from the start. This isn't just an accounting win.
No, absolutely not. It reflects successful foreign policy. It reflects the huge economic contribution of Indians living abroad.
And it's a clear signal, isn't it, of India's growing economic weight on the global stage.
Definitely. We're talking about a massive, sustained transfer of value, driven by skilled people, doctors, engineers, tech workers, sending money back home. It's quite a story.
Okay, so let's just clarify terms for anyone maybe newer to this. When we say remittance, what exactly are we talking about here?
Sure. Put simply, remittance is just the money someone earns while working or living outside their home country that they then send back.
Usually to family, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe for investment back home.
Exactly. To support family, mostly, sometimes for savings or investment. It's technically a personal transfer, but when you add it all up...
It becomes this enormous national financial stream. And that stream just hit historic levels. The figures for the financial year 2024-25, India received $135.46 billion.
Let's say that again, $135.46 billion, which is about 11.54 lakh crore in rupees.
That number is just huge. It confirms India is #1 in the world for remittances.
And not just #1 for the year, it's an all-time global record for any country, ever, in this specific category.
Wow. Okay, to really grasp how dominant India is here, you need to look at the runners-up. It's not even close, is it?
Not even remotely close.
Yeah.
Take Mexico. They're #2 globally. They received around $68 billion.
Okay, so India's total is nearly double the #2 country.
Pretty much double. And then look at China, another major economy, right? They're third, with only about $50 billion in remittances.
So compared to $135 billion for India,
Yeah.
it really puts it in perspective. India isn't just leading, it's completely overshadowing everyone else in this area.
It's in a league of its own.
Now, a number like $135 billion, it's so big it almost feels abstract. We need to ground this for you, the listener. What does this mean inside India?
Well, domestically, this single flow of cash makes up about 3.5% of India's entire GDP, gross domestic product. That's significant.
3.5% of the whole economy from just this one source.
Okay. And then look internationally. The comparisons are, frankly, staggering. The sources we looked at point out this $135 billion is 5 times larger than Pakistan's total current foreign exchange reserves.
Wait, hang on. 5 times the entire foreign currency stash of a neighboring country.
5 times. And it's 3 times the size of Bangladesh's total national budget.
So think about the economic security that provides. It's like a massive financial cushion.
It is. It acts as a strategic buffer, really. Untouchable financial security, almost.
And here's maybe the most striking fact. $135 billion is more than the entire annual economic output, the GDP, of over 90 countries around the world.
Let that sink in. This single flow of money back to India is larger than the whole economy of more than 90 nations.
It just speaks volumes about the sheer scale and the productivity of the Indian diaspora globally.
It really does. Now, while Indians are all over the globe, the sources of this money aren't perfectly even. Where's the biggest chunk coming from?
Right. The single largest contributor, accounting for a huge 27% of that $135 billion, is the United States.
Yes, the U.S. is #1 by a significant margin, but we shouldn't overlook the other major hubs.
The traditional ones, you mean?
Exactly. Places like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the Gulf states are still very important. Plus the UK and Singapore. It's coming from diverse high-income economies.
And let's emphasize again, this isn't government aid or corporate investment. This is driven by individuals.
That's the key point. It's the tech workers in California, the doctors in the UK, the engineers working in Dubai, the traders in Singapore.
People succeeding in those economies, but keeping that financial tie, that umbilical cord, back to their families and communities in India.
They're essentially, acting like individual economic ambassadors. Their personal success translates directly into national financial strength for India.
Okay, so let's make that transition. We see the diaspora success. How does this impact India domestically? This money goes to families, right? Often middle class, maybe lower middle class. How does, money sent to someone's aunt in Kerala become strategic leverage for the Reserve Bank of India?
Ah, okay. This is the really clever part, the strategic benefit. It's all about foreign currency exchange, forex, and macroeconomics.
Right.
So imagine an Indian IT professional in the U.S. sends home, say, $1,000. That money arrives electronically, usually as U.S. dollars.
The world's main reserve currency.
Precisely. Now, the RBI, India's central bank, steps in. It effectively buys that $1,000 from the recipient's bank. The RBI keeps the U.S. dollars, adding them to the nation's foreign exchange reserves, the FX reserves.
And in return?
In return, the RBI ensures the family receives the equivalent amount in Indian rupees.
Ah, I see. So the RBI is basically swapping rupees for dollars billions and billions of times over, thanks to these remittances.
That's exactly it. And by pulling in a record $135 billion worth of hard currency like this, India's FX reserves get a massive boost.
And having huge FX reserves does what?
Two main things. First, it helps stabilize the Indian rupee. A large, steady inflow of dollars prevents wild swings in the exchange rate. Over the long run, it can even help strengthen the rupee against the dollar.
Which is good for controlling inflation and just general economic stability.
Crucial for that. And second, think about international trade.
Okay.
India imports a lot of essential stuff. Crude oil, natural gas, advanced machinery, electronics. The bill for almost all of that has to be paid in U.S. dollars.
Right. The global standard.
So if the RBI has this huge, constantly replenishing pool of dollars coming in from remittances, paying those international bills becomes much easier, much more predictable, less vulnerable to global shocks.
Okay, that makes sense then why some sources describe this flow as like the blood of the economy or oxygen for national development. It's fundamental.
It really is. It's a mechanism for self-reliance, in a way.
Yeah.
And beyond the big picture stuff, the currency stability, the trade, don't forget the grassroots impact you mentioned earlier.
Right, the money going directly to families.
Because it goes straight to people, often bypassing layers of bureaucracy. It gets spent or invested quickly. This provides vital capital, especially in smaller towns and rural areas. It supports local economies, helps rural banks. It's a direct injection of funds where it's often needed most.
So it sounds like an overwhelmingly positive story for India then. Financial security, stable currency, helping development from the ground up.
From an Indian perspective, yes, absolutely.
But there's always a but, isn't there? When one country achieves this kind of financial inflow, fueled by its citizens working abroad, it inevitably starts to affect the host countries, the ones where the money is being earned.
Exactly. And that brings us to the friction, the international reaction. Specifically, this proposal from the United States to start taxing these remittance outflows.
Okay. And just to be clear, as always, we're reporting impartially here on what the sources say about this political development. We're not taking sides.
Correct. So historically, the U.S., like most countries, didn't tax money being sent home as a personal remittance. The income was already taxed when it was earned in the U.S., right?
Standard income tax, yeah.
But the sources indicate this started to shift during the Trump administration. There was talk about taxing these outflows.
What was the initial proposal like?
Well, the first number floated, according to the reports, was actually quite high,